is advised.
Hey everyone, welcome to the discussion for Dark Ritual's Malleus Maleficarum, which I didn't even mention this in the run-through, that Malleus Maleficarum, what do you say? It's the Book of Witches.
It's like their handbook or
their
whatever.
Porn. It's their Playboys. Yeah, just all mutilated bodies and fucked up pictures that, witches would be into. Yeah, I mean...
Oh, definitely for witches.
But I only have it for the articles.
Yeah, I only read it for that.
So, this is a one-verse minigame, which I had actually forgotten about when I backed it, and it's been... I don't feel like I was actually waiting on this game that long. I feel like this company...
Either that or you weren't looking forward to it.
Well, it was one of those things that I thought the theme was really cool, and I just backed it, and I'm like... And it was cheap for everything that you get in comparison to other games of this magnitude. Yeah. But it's been a while since we've played a one-verse minigame. In terms of Kat and I, usually either with bigger companies like Star Wars Imperial Assault or Descent, those were one-verse many, but then they made apps for them that made them fully cooperative. Mansions of Madness had a first edition that was one-verse many, second edition made it fully cooperative. So it almost feels like it's a dying genre.
Really?
I think so. I don't see a lot of one-verse many games come out because they tend to be unbalanced or feel unbalanced, and people don't like that feeling. They want it to feel like, oh, I have a chance just as much as you do. Yeah. Like The Others, for example, which is a game about one person plays one of the 7 deadly sins, and the other people play heroes. But that one, like, if you think this feels like that your back's against the wall, in The Others, you're in the wall. Even though I would say The Others is probably a balanced game, it's not fun for the heroes. Okay. But here, I don't know. This game, it does something for me. I thoroughly enjoy this game. Yeah. Granted, I've been the witches the whole time, and I've won the times that we've played. So that could be a thing. But
but it felt close.
Yeah.
Both times. It felt like, we're so close to winning. Right. And we're so close to losing.
Yeah. And I think that that's a good aspect of a one-verse minigame. But first, do you guys have any negatives with the game? And for the record, for those of you out there, we have played the first and second encounter. We have 2 different types of objectives to go off of. Right. So I guess my first question should actually be, which encounter did you guys like best?
Overall, I'd say the first one.
The first one?
For me, they played out very similarly.
Yeah.
Until the end.
Yeah.
The end goal of the second one here started becoming tedious.
Yeah, I would agree. I like the first one too. I feel like it had a better flow to it in regards to like our win conditions and our loss conditions.
Yeah, because in the first one, your win condition was kill 2 witches, or have 2 burning witch tokens on the board, which is interesting because I can bring more witches in. It's not just the ones I start with, but I permanently lose 5 stamina from the game, but that doesn't get rid of the burning witch token.
Yeah, they can just help each other.
Yeah, and what did I need to do? I needed to I need to kill four the people. Right. Not to eat them is what the theming was. Yeah. And then this one was you guys had to kill Pekka, which would have been which was relatively. I was like, oh, you had 2 options. You had 2 ways to win, where I only had the one. Yeah. So I just had to stall you guys. So, I will say, while the gameplay felt similar, the objectives still made them different enough where it's like, wow, you didn't just make the same encounter over and over.
Oh, yeah. They're definitely different mini-games within the same theme area.
Yeah, but any negatives about the game? I feel like Kat might have one. Because he bitched about it the whole time.
What do you mean?
The loot cards.
Oh, yeah. See, I didn't even want to think about them. So, yeah, my problem with random loot is it is random. I mean, it's the same in literally anything. If you loot anything, you don't know what you're going to get. Yeah. It's the fact that I have to kill someone to level these. And if I'm leveling them off of, like, well, I want to be a fighter, I want to be a defender, like, for me personally, and I get a random item that's like, oh, you have to have a really good agility, or like you have to focus on alchemy. It's like, well, I didn't know that, and so I wasted my turn is how it feels to me.
At least temporarily. You can raise up and then use it later. And you've got a goal at that point.
Right.
But then you feel like I'm only trying to achieve this card
Yeah.
instead of my overall.
Yeah, but what they do pretty interesting. In I mean, I agree with you. I think it would feel very annoying to draw and be like, I can't even use this, so why I loot?
Yeah.
But the thing is all of those items are extremely useful, and like Brett said, they give you something to go for. Either you can draw and get lucky and be like, and be like, oh, great, I can use this immediately, or now I'm not just blindly leveling up just to level up. But what they did, I think, to compensate that is equipping and unequipping is free. So at least when you draw the loot card and you're like, well, fuck, I can't even use this, at least when you can use it, it doesn't take an action to put it on. So
the weight limit is what you can use in any given
the weight
time?
limit is your
ability to
hand
carry.
limit and ability to carry.
Okay.
So
I guess it wasn't
if we
clear
drop
on equipping
it,
and unequipping.
well, I thought that was picking up and then putting down.
that is, but like
it's
your
not free.
artifact that's on no, that's picking up from the board.
Oh.
The things you can't use go in your hand. And they still count. You're still carrying them on you with the weight limit, which I will say is an interesting mechanic that I feel they did pretty well.
Yeah.
Because it's usually not included in games. It's included in like a hand limit.
Yeah.
But here it's like, nope. If you can carry 15 pounds, you can have 30 cards in your hand as long as it doesn't equate to 15 pounds.
Yeah.
Like
the ingredients don't count.
Yeah, the ingredient. I mean, which makes sense. You just have a pocket of
Flowers.
flour and powder.
And mud. And roots.
I will bring up then that I felt similarly, except about the alchemy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That, first time I drew alchemy, I drew stuff that, well, if I had if I cast a bunch more spells, I can use this.
Yeah.
But right now, it was a wasted turn, and I ended up getting poisoned, which I didn't know was going to happen.
Right.
But it was a fun, wow.
Oh, man,
I didn't know
look at
that.
Let's see. 1, 2. Do you have
So,
any
actually-
poison cards?
No.
There are 2 in the deck.
Oh, go figure.
So even actually before we started, I was upstairs and I'm not going to worry about alchemy this time because
Wink,
it was a waste. And then
And I agreed. I was
it's there, it's free, it's easy to pick up.
See, I think the alchemy is really cool because, one, they're tied to your characters.
Yeah.
Which-
Each of the spell books is character
Yeah.
specific.
And what they did, instead of giving your character... I mean, you have your own unique weapon, but you essentially have no special ability. Like, it's not written on your card. But you have a special alchemy book. And at first I was thinking, why the fuck do you guys have alchemy books? That doesn't make any sense. Because I forgot that this theme was about witches. You're not fighting demons. It's not a Christian,
we don't have
or
talismans
humans.
or...
Huh?
Or standard vanilla humans.
Right. Like you're fighting, apparitions, Dark Legion of the Witch. Which, side note, the theme is awesome.
I love the theme. Yeah.
And the artwork.
The artwork
So
is
and the production.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
The production is pretty good. My only complaint is that in their add-ons, unless I missed it, for the Village Attacks one, they just gave you the Banshee, but didn't give you the Succubus, the Wendigo, or anything like that. So it's like, why do I have these? It's like, unless they did anticipate you having that game, which I did at the time.
In which case, that's also very tedious because, you don't want to unpack a whole other game.
it's a very cheap production decision that they did.
Yeah, it's weird.
And
Well, assuming it was a decision and not simply something that they missed in quality control or something.
But
then why give you one but not the others if they're going to
Exactly.
And that's what makes me think it might have been just a quality control problem when packing.
That's my guess. Yeah.
No, my thinking is that in the box, it didn't have the the vacuum seal phone to have the Wendigos in it, or anything. It just had the Banshee. So it's like I just think they actively decided not to put it in. But so that's a complaint. If they did decide to do that, it is I'll retract that statement if someone comments and it's like, no, you should actually email them and they'll send it to you. I would actually probably email them anyway and be like,
what the hell is wrong
where
with
the fuck is my Wendigo? I'm suing.
It's my favorite!
But for the alchemy, I think once again they balanced it in such a way that it's so simple for you guys to pick those up. I can't mess with them. You guys can have the whole deck in your hand. The whole alchemy deck, and then be like, "Oh, this is all free." Boom, 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 and then just by
because they don't use anything.
Yeah,
except they are actions. So you can
none of their conditional reactions.
You're right. Some of them are,
and you can just boom, and it goes up. like, you can do one card just to, thwart. Whenever I ran in there and Cat had like a repel that knocked it back, that actually thwarted a plan that I was trying to do with my 2 condemned. And it's like, okay, and then you just killed it. You go, oh, okay, now that they're not together, I'll cut this one down and shoot the other one.
Yeah, that did come in handy.
And so I think the alchemy is really cool. And because, once again, I can't mess with these. When you guys affect them, you're drawing 2 or 3, which I think is plenty for either you guys to trade back and forth, or
we never traded anything.
You guys never trade.
Say,
you never drop stuff, because even if you drop stuff, I can't go pick it up.
We were gonna trade the necklace, but we were like, it's just not important right now. Like it's just not on the radar.
And I think separating became more important.
Yes, right, and I think that shows the sign of kind of a good balance, because of what you guys have to decide to not to do without. You guys never felt that agility was worth it until you needed agility to move around. Yes. You never felt that trading was worth it until you're like, oh man, it'd probably be good if you had this item.
And our strategy has been to attack.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
We did spend time picking things up to get a little bit stronger, but our strategy has always been very offensive.
Yeah.
And it would be interesting to try it with a different approach.
Yeah. And I think these games kind of lead you to want to attack. You see a horde of... Have you ever played Root?
No.
Okay. Well, I don't know why I brought that up. Well, my initial thought was the cats are the enemy. They control most of the board at the beginning of the game, so they're the very obvious threat, because it's like, well, you have the most, but in reality, the other factions are just as much of a threat. You just see all the enemies, and you're like, I have to get rid of them. Mm-hmm. And the comparison is that you see all the minis, and you're like, oh well, we got to kill them. Mm-hmm. And you're not wrong. You can kill them, and most of them, besides the disgusting fat ones, are 1 health.
Yeah.
So it's easy to kind of pick them off.
Yeah. But then again, that uses stamina that we can't use to achieve a larger objective.
Right. But it's like, whenever a game gives you a goal, my strategy is always first and foremost that goal, everything else secondary. Mm-hmm. So I would have been doing everything, like in this particular example, it's kill the minions in your way to bump up your agility so you can run in and grab those scrolls. Boom, get rid of those. Yeah, I'm going to be trying to stop you the whole way, and who knows what cards I can play to do that. But I think what deterred you guys was you're like, well, we got to kill them and get them out of the way. And then just never, I think Kat finally bumped up her agility once. No, I think he starts with 2. Never mind. The doctor started with 2.
Yep.
I don't know if you guys ever bumped up your agility.
Nope.
Who needs it?
So, that's one
Survivors.
of the qualities. The ones that didn't get killed by the demon. But that's one of these things that makes me really like this game, is the double-edged sword nature. Mm-hmm. If you're doing something that's beneficial, you're doing something that's not.
Yeah.
And I really like the idea that you're going to replenish your energy pool, your stamina.
Yep.
Eventually, and even dying.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about sacrificing yourself for the greater good, because you're going to get it back.
Yeah. You'll come back. It'll take most of your turn to get back up.
Yeah.
But yeah, all it does, and I like that, it takes a lot for me to even kill you. Because it's like, no matter how much I roll 70, what's your defense? 2? 1 wound.
Yeah, and I don't even try to defend.
Yeah, it's like, okay, well, I'll leave it at that. And all it does is me killing you guys just gets me closer. I mean, it slowly levels up my people and makes them a little more tougher. Yeah. But it allows me to place these soul markers, which get me plagues. Which plagues allow me to permanently weaken you guys.
Semi-permanently.
Yeah, and unless you kill her or the doctor, or you get an item or something that allows you to just be like, oh, plague's gone.
Yep.
So I think
that would have been nice.
Yeah. I will say there is kind of a slight learning curve. Not to the game. I will say for a game that's 1 versus many, this is actually really simple.
Yeah, it feels, like most games, it feels like a lot up front. Mm-hmm. But once you actually start playing a couple of rounds, you go, this is, it's got decent player aids about what you can do. Yeah.
And that is probably one of my favorite things about this game, because there's a lot of these games that I get that I'm like, man, I'm so excited, and I get this fucking dictionary of a rule book, and I'm like, oh god, I don't want to play it now, because it feels like it's gonna be a chore. Okay, oh, by the way, to move, you actually have to remember to do this and this and this. It's like, no, everything, and they did a fantastic job with this rule book, constantly reiterating, Every time they brought up movement, they explained how to move. Anything that even related to movement, they brought it up. Anything that, if you move, you have to evade. And remember, evading, they reiterated so much throughout this rulebook that I read it once and I was like, I got it.
Excellent.
And that is a huge praise to them because not enough people do that. But yeah, combat, extremely simple. Roll dice if you have any abilities that let you boost, or if you want to aid. Whoever has a higher attack deals 1 wound.
Yeah, it's close to the risk
Yeah.
combat mechanic.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
2 teams roll dice, if you choose to roll dice, and then number versus number.
Yeah, and but it wasn't just that. Because you could have abilities or spells or whatever these are, items that juice it up just a little bit, where it's not literally risk.
Oh, no.
Right.
Movement, extremely simple. You spend the stamina and you move 1 space. And if your agility is less than that of the highest monster in there or enemy, you just can't move.
Just the highest one?
Yeah, it's like
multiples?
Yeah, it doesn't add up. Like if I had 3 condemns, it wouldn't be 9 for you to get that. It's one of the condemns stops you.
That's good.
Or if I had, the
we've never tried to run away, so we don't know how
right.
it works.
If I had the Mortis in there with 1, like if Kat, whenever she ran past it, if I had the 1, but I also had a condemned in there, she'd have to compete against the 3.
Right.
Because that's what grabs you and prevents you from running out.
No.
Let's see. Negatives.
I went over my negative.
You went over yours. Do you have any?
This is a personal nitpicky thing, which doesn't affect most people. I totally realize I own it. But for me, setting up a game, I would like it to be a little bit simpler.
Oh, okay.
and take less than 10 minutes to set up a game.
Totally fair, yeah.
This one just has, you've got a scenario, so you put these boards together, you put the pieces on it, it's like...
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of games that are like that, and they're good games. It's just, it takes away from the overall experience when you have to spend half an hour setting something up.
It's funny. I think you're the only person that's ever brought up setup time.
That actually is a good point.
I never bring it up because I'm always the one that sets it up.
Yeah.
And
See,
so
this
I'm
is
just
nice
like,
that we have other players to talk to now because that is something that it's very valid. It's very valid because especially if let's say it was a total wipe, and we just absolutely ate shit, it would be like, okay, well, I spent 30 minutes setting it up.
That is whenever I will bring up setup time because it's like if it takes a long time to set up, but the game wasn't good, or
if it just doesn't justify
it's just like, wow, it took 45 minutes to set up, but 10 minutes to play.
Yeah.
It's not worth playing. Here, I think it takes about 30 minutes to set up. I don't have to give you guys a whole bunch of
for one person, if we work together, it would have been...
But it's like, boom, here's that. I just shuffle this deck. I get my minions. You do obviously the encounter setup. That's the longest.
Yeah.
Set up the 4 heroes. But I feel like it's quicker than a lot of games that are like this. Mm-hmm. And the games that we've played are about 2 hours. Mm-hmm. So, and I feel like
that's worth it.
This one, I would probably say about an hour and 30 minutes in I was having a great time until we got this deck out and it was going back and forth. And you guys were like, well, we need to run away from him. And I'm like,
please
no,
don't.
You need to kill him.
Please don't.
I get it.
We can prolong it as long as we want.
Yeah, it's like we're just going back and forth until
we know we can
honestly,
win.
That's a weakness of that scenario.
Yeah. It's a tug of war scenario, which is good in and of itself if you're playing aggressively. The only time, because I think you guys were just running away just because you moved her all the way out. It's like, okay, you could have ran in here to try and get loot or ran in here to try and kill her, but you just ran away from the demon.
Well, I was almost dead at that point.
Right.
But didn't help.
But yeah, so it's like if you guys were running to try and get more items or more alchemy ingredients, it's like, okay, well, you're prepping to kill him.
Yeah.
But just evading helped no one, and I was gonna be like, all right, if we just keep evading, I'm just gonna call it and we'll do the discussion. I was like 1 or 2 rounds away from just ending it
because cat and mouse can only be so fun
when someone gets caught.
yeah or tricked.
What do you guys think of the stamina mechanism?
I like it. I think that's interesting.
There's enough to do several things, but not so much that it's overpowered.
Yeah.
Or that you get lost in options.
Right.
There aren't so many choices to think about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and the fact that it replenishes as soon as basically everybody runs out.
Yeah.
Or chooses to halt.
Yep, to end it.
Yeah, which is a choice. We didn't do that. I don't think we did that until we were all pretty much exhausted.
Yeah, I think I chose to pass once when I couldn't activate the demon.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm just going to pass.
But you even continued on next time because we didn't pass.
Yeah, because Cat moved.
If we had passed, then we all would have reset.
Mm-hmm. And I like that mechanic. I always like the consecutive passing because it's like, you guys can pass just to see what I do.
True.
But that's a risk that I can be like, okay, I'm going to pass 2. And then, boom, next round. And vice versa.
Yeah, there's a strategy behind it, but there's also a competition.
A risk to it.
Yeah.
I think the stamina mechanism is fantastic, and they balance it in a way where it's like, you guys actually have 6 more stamina total than I do.
Right.
Because with these 4, you have 2 10s and 2 9s, so you have 38 to my 32. But whereas you guys have to decide who's going and who's doing the actions, where I can be like, okay, I'm gonna spend 2 to move this one, I'm gonna spend 2 to move this one. Like, I have the versatility of activating anyone in my legion.
I thought you had to, on each turn, could only use 1 character.
You guys can.
Right. I thought it was the same for you as well.
No, because they're all my legion.
Okay.
So it's like, this is who I can do stuff with.
Okay.
But I think that's the balance in the fact that I have 6 less than you. And a lot of my stuff, it's like, okay, if I want to attack with the disgusting, whatever the hell, this pilgrim, it costs a lot to do. Yeah. But she can attack adjacent. So it's like, okay, is that kind of worth it? Yeah. Having she's my only ranged one. Yeah. I think it's fantastic. But it's still always just the 2 actions. Yeah. Or 1 or 2.
And in the combat system, I will say that, even though it didn't come up much here, the mechanic that we can spend, but we don't have to be close to the peasants, the commoners, to defend them.
Oh, yeah.
We just have to spend our resource.
Yeah.
But we don't actually have to be there.
Right.
That makes it a whole lot better.
Yeah. Oh, man, it'd be awful.
We can defend them remotely.
You'd have no way to win any scenario if you had to be, like, holding their hand the whole time.
What if that's something they play test and they said, this isn't working?
It could.
Because sometimes, because they
could have played another game that they're like, that does not work.
Right. And because they are there, and I think they're mainly there to help me, because if I had to only kill you guys to increase this, it would be so slow. Because I'd have to attack you. Attack him 5 times. You are hard to kill.
Yeah.
And so it's a strategy.
And we keep popping back.
The stamina mechanism brings in so much sub-thought. Like, because it's like, okay, well, like, for example, when you were deciding, should I attack the Ravenous or the Condemned? It's like, well, it takes 1 stamina for me to defend, but he rolls less dice. Or it takes more stamina, but he rolls more dice.
Yeah.
What do you want to do? You want to cause me to go out of stamina, and then I can do less actions?
And risk not getting rid of one of them.
Yeah. Yeah, so I really enjoy that thought, and they did such a fantastic job with making this game have enough meat to it without grinding it down in persnickety rules that is a burden to play. And here's another testament to this game. Most games, especially when recording, I hate having to dig through for miniatures. It's annoying. It's like it's slightly less annoying when I'm not recording the channel.
Sure.
But normally when I'm recording, I want it to be fluid. I want to have everything, boom, we can reach, and everything's just there. But like games like Folklore or there was another one. Folklore is the one popping to mind where it's like, random encounter, boom, okay, you have to grab all, and I'm like, I have to find all them.
But you have to play a game while you're playing the game. Like.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't want to do that. I can't remember. But Folklore definitely did it, and it always pissed me off. But here, I have the option of doing that. Whereas every minion that I can summon is a card in my hand. And so therefore, if I don't want to add more minions to the board, great. I don't have to dig through it. But if I do, while you guys are doing your turn, I can... you guys are still playing and doing stuff, and I'll just be like, here it is. Yeah. And then decide to bring it out if I want to. I just think that that's fantastic. It's not cumbersome to dig through the box whenever I have the choice of being able to do that. Kat, what do you like about the game?
I mean, you guys really touched on a lot of stuff that I
told you she was going to say that.
Yeah, I mean, you do. You talk, and I listen, and I agree. Like,
and I disagree, but I keep my mouth shut. What?
No, I hated this game.
I hate this game.
No, I liked the stamina. I liked the theme. I mean, I'm in love with. I love that kind of ooky, spooky, creepy, gross stuff, like gruesome, witchy vibes. Very cool. The story is
There is a campaign.
Yeah, it is what it is. I mean, I will also say...
If we ever are successful, we can actually start out the next time better.
Yeah. I will say, like, for as
that.
long as this game is, it keeps my attention.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have a problem with keeping my attention, which is good, because I know there are some long games where I'm like, when is this going to be over? Like,
or you're grinded down so much where it's like every time you guys attack, you fail, or it's like, we finally did it, and I'm just like, boom, 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 boom. Here's all my stuff that I can do. Oh, what, you guys can move, you know? Because like the back and forth of the cards that I have. I mean, I have a whole deck to hope to get something decent, and the cards that I was drawing, most of them were a pretend to her, and she was just in her tower stabbing her cat. Whereas you guys are just like, oh, okay, oh, look at that, oh, look at all the ingredients we have, and boom, okay, that's just gonna kill that person.
And I love it when games do this, when they make references, like, clearly this is Geralt of Rivia, obviously that's
Magenta.
It's Binks. I love Magenta. It's Binks the cat from Hocus Pocus. Like, I like little references sprinkled in here.
This game is dark and gruesome in its atmosphere and theme, but light-hearted at the same time. Like, the witches are like witches. They're bickering back and forth, and, oh, where's the demon? And our
damn demon won't do what I say this time.
Right? Well, the cat's sleeping, so I guess the demon's gone. What the fuck? And I will say, for the campaign, they do a decent job where it's not like Village Attacks or Near and Far, where it's like, hey, just play 10 games of this, and that's your campaign.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There is enough. There's an opening thing that tells you kind of gets you set up for the encounter, and then there's actually flavor text depending on who wins, which is cool.
Makes sense.
For me, because I got to read it every time.
I do like obviously the board change, because that way it's not like, oh, here you're just in the same village that you're always in, and same shit, different day.
Yeah, and they do an interesting part with the campaign rules, where you get victory points. The winner gets 8 victory points, and you can hoard them, but it's competitive victory points. And what I mean by that is, like, let's say I have a total of 10 victory points at the beginning of an encounter, and you guys won the last one, so you have 8. So at the beginning of the encounter, you guys have 0 victory points, but I have 2 to spend. And you spend the victory points on, for you guys, you get to draw a botany card, you get to draw a loot card for 5 or something, or you can just, for 8 or something, just remove a minion from the board.
Gotcha.
And I can draw, like, some cards. But it's not like, oh, I won these past 2, so I have 16. If I won the first encounter and didn't spend them, and you won this one, the next one it'd be a wash, and we'd both be at 0. So I think that's pretty interesting. I think that's a way to balance out who's winning and who's going back and forth. But even then, spending the victory points, me drawing an extra card, isn't like game breaking. There's not one. I think the highest one I can do. Let me see. For 8, each hero exhausts 2 stamina, and for 8 for you guys, I must exhaust 8.
Yeah.
So,
which is not a permanent removal. It's
we
just
a little more tired.
Yeah.
Which I like that.
Yeah, not a big deal, but it's a big effect on the first.
Yeah, at the very beginning, because you guys either have 9 or 10 to start with.
But it's not crippling for the whole game.
Yeah, it's not. Oh no, you permanently lose 2 stamina. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Because a lot of games where they have progressive, like whoever won the first scenario gets a bonus in the next one. Usually, like Arcadia Quest has that. Descent, second edition, had it where it's like the rich keep getting richer.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, I won this one, so now the next one I actually get a huge bonus. So therefore I'm going to win again, and then I get another bonus, and it's like, why the fuck are we even trying? This game is fantastic.
Yeah.
Brett, do you have anything to add?
The only thing that I would add is I've only played a couple of team versus one type games, and I'm just going to bring up that I think it's a great idea, and I'm surprised because I thought it was a fairly new concept. I'm surprised that it might be dying out, or that it might be converting away to full cooperative, because, we've got groups of friends that we play with, and there's often that 1 or 2 people that just doesn't like cooperative games.
Yeah.
They just want the thrill of victory, and this is one that, you can have a team of people and the one person who doesn't want to be cooperative.
That's true.
Which is great.
Or even that's a good point, because one, people who don't like cooperative games are bizarre. I am super competitive and I love winning, but I love cooperative games as well.
Yeah.
Because sometimes if it relies heavily on luck, then it's like, well, at least if we're all working together, yeah, it sucks for everyone, not just for the, wow, you beat me just because you rolled better, or whatever it may be. Mm-hmm. But you're right, the one versus many does kind of kill two birds with one stone. Mm-hmm. And I would say that of a lot of the one versus many games, the witch player in this game, it's not too much to understand. Hey, here's your deck, draw 3 cards.
Yep.
Okay, this is what you can do. You do 2 actions just like everyone else, and you can move,
spend
attack.
your resources.
Yeah, in this cool little cauldron thing. That was only Kickstarter exclusive. Oh. Yeah, no one else gets that unless you backed it.
Then you get it.
Yeah, and it also, I felt this game worked really well with 3. Now, would you say controlling 2 people? Because sometimes that can be like, this is way too much. Like, for example, Fury of Dracula is a 1 versus many. Mm-hmm. It's also a hidden movement at the same time. But if you play with 2 people, they have to control 2. And that could be a lot of item cards, a lot of special ability cards, where you're like, shit, who has it? Do you guys felt that being able to control 2? Like, do you think this is a good 3-player game?
I think it was advantageous for us to control 2 people at the same time.
Rather than just being 2 versus 1?
Right, okay. Right, because I don't know if it automatically scales for stuff like that.
No, you need 4.
So then you do need 4, which is always kind of not that great that you're like, no, you have to have that many. But the fact, I mean, I never felt like I was so bogged down with stuff that I was like, oh my gosh, I can't like focus.
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't feel that bad controlling 2 people, so I did not feel burdened by it. So I think it was fine. Yeah.
Cool.
I agree, which concerns me a little bit about if there were actually 4 different people as players. Is, we'd strategize together, but only one person actually does anything each turn. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that would be.
Yeah.
Would it flow faster, or?
I think he would also have to deal with, it's like, okay, you guys are like, we're all doing separate things, but it's easier because I'm controlling 2 people, you're controlling 2 people. So like, if Geralt goes, and then Bjorn and then Magenta goes, it's like, well, it's only 2 people doing these turns. It's not me being like, oh, I'm Geralt, and then watching like 2 other people go, and then like I haven't gone in like suddenly 6 turns because there's other people interacting.
Right. I think what you miss out, of course, with less people on your team is different strategies. If someone, if you guys are like, well, we're going to keep attacking, the third person can be like, hey, fuckers, we need to update or upgrade our agility so we can actually get to these scrolls.
They'd get vetoed.
Or the biggest thing
that's cooperation.
The biggest thing I think you guys actually lose by controlling 2 people is the steepest learning curve for this game are those alchemy cards. The fact that you have at least, I think, 8. So you have to keep track of 16 unique abilities.
Yeah.
And be like, and their alchemical ingredients.
Yeah.
For them to be like, okay, well, if, like, because I would be like, Kat, quickly tell me what's Dr. Schnippy's, highest level alchemy.
Oh, highest level. See, this is how I was breaking it down to make it manageable, because I always do things like, the most manageable is at the top, and then I don't focus on the worst because it's like, I'm not there yet, it's okay.
Yeah.
Like Geralt, I only ever looked at his level 1s because I just wasn't there yet.
Yeah.
I knew he had good ones, and I can get there eventually. Dr. Schnaps had level 2s, so I could look at the 2s, and from then on it's like, okay, as long as I'm not like giving myself information overload, I was able to kind of separate it. But yeah, it can be a lot to look at sometimes.
Right. But you see what I'm saying, where it's like if you had someone else who only got to manage Dr. Schnaps, that he could be like, oh, there's plague cards out, so I'm going to actively play him to get his alchemy up, to find the ingredients so I can remove those. That's how I will contribute to the team. Yeah. Because he's not really that good at attacking. Yeah. Like, you rolled really well once, and then for the most part missed or
twice
got his ass kicked.
Thank you.
We all got our ass kicked.
But so and I think that's really interesting with the alchemy cards, because just from watching you guys, it's like, okay, you guys pretty much play the same way, but you don't. I'm pretty sure Dr. Schlong is area support. He gets rid of play cards. He gets rid of minions.
And
he repels. He does a lot of
all he needed was like a mushroom and flowers. He just wasn't getting them. Geralt was getting all of them.
But yeah, and then it's like, oh, hey, other person playing Geralt. Come, I'll meet you so we can trade
I made the mistake of having them. I mean, I didn't actively make the mistake. It's just how it turned out. They were just on the opposite sides of the board. They were just on the total opposite side.
So I think that's the hardest part, is because your characters don't say, hey, Dr.
Bing bong.
Shoal, like, here's his ability. You have 8. You have 8 abilities with him.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic, but that is hard to be like, I'm controlling 2 people, so I also have to manage their resources for 2 people.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I feel you.
So
it's probably better that they have their own separate resources instead of us having a pool like you do.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Although it would be nice to just keep hammering away at somebody.
Right. But if that was the case, then it's like, I guess we'll have Bjorn keep playing, and here it's like eventually
the way it is because it works.
Yeah, eventually Bjorn will get tired. Or he'll walk in, attack once, and then be tired. And I'll be like, aha!
You idiot!
So I thoroughly enjoy it. I don't think this game is unbalanced. I think both sides can have decisions on, like, well, this is what one side wasn't doing that could be a contributing factor to why it was harder, versus just, well, the game, like, you have the one person has too much to do. I would make the argument that I have less to do, because the only time you guys just dwindle my minions down, the only way I get more out are cards.
Yeah.
So
I feel that.
And I have a bunch of them, but yeah, like, that's the only way I'm getting people out. I guess technically one thing I'm not 100% on is it mentions that, like, one of my actions is cast a witchcraft spell, but also summon minion. But I don't know if the summon minion is the card, or if that's casting a witchcraft spell and summon minion is these. You know what I'm saying?
I think it sounds like you're doing both. If it says
right, but they're separate actions.
Which means it can't be one of the cards.
Right.
It's got to be an innate ability you have.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so that's why it's like, okay, yeah, it costs whatever, but there's no cost on the card to bring them in. So unless it's on the witch card.
Gotcha.
I see it. So for her, it's 3 for her to move. It's her agility. No, it's 3 for her to move. It's 4 to save a burning witch. I think it's 5 to bring in a new witch, and 5 to summon an innate minion.
Okay.
I didn't even look at that. I was just going off of the cards. But that's a lot. That's 5 of these to bring back something that you guys can kill with 1 hit.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think and then for the special ones that I can summon, like, it costs a lot, and sometimes they're really good, like the Wendigo. That was I basically used just to bait you guys, so you guys quit, so you guys wouldn't keep going after the scroll. It worked.
Well, he was going in the direction we needed to go to. The scroll, he just slowed us down. Yeah.
So that was something that, because it specifically says, you're limited by the number of minions, so I can't just keep summoning condemns, but I can bring more in.
That was the chair. That was the chair. That was my badge.
The other thing that's pretty cool about the witches, which hardly came in this particular scenario, but when they attack or defend, they have their own spellbook as well. Mm-hmm. But it's not, I have to roll that specific number, and usually it's like, oh, you exhaust a stamina, or whatever. But they do have spells that they can also cast. Yeah. You guys get anything else?
I didn't think so.
No, very cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. I made the game.
Thanks.
You should paint it.
I should get these painted.
Every single
These do beg to be painted. They are nicely detailed.
Just not by me, cat. No.
I hate assembly lines.
That is what this would be.
Yeah.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you guys rate it? Brett, let's give you the honors of going first. 3. Well, what? I really liked it. 2.
I'm very critical, you see.
I am. If it's not King Domino,
no,
it's 2.
It's not Calico. I won't play it.
No, it's definitely okay. So my rating system is not what everybody else's is. Where 5 is acceptable.
Yeah,
and it's I'm waiting myself. I give it 4 stars. I give it 5 stars if it is flawless, and not flawless, but this is really good. So on a 10 scale.
Yeah,
for me personally,
I don't like doing out of 5 because then it's just I don't know.
There's
I would go as far as 8.
8?
That's pretty.
That's actually where I'm at.
That's
too.
actually what I was gonna give it.
I was gonna give it an 8. And funny enough, that's what it is on Board Game Geek right now as well.
We agree.
But we
Can't
are
all
all
be
agree,
wrong.
average of an 8. Yeah, this is
Yeah.
fantastic. So,
Yeah.
all right, everyone, that's our thoughts on Dark Rituals Malleus Maleficarum. Let us know what you think of the game in the comments below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you. Hey everyone, thank you for watching, and I really hope that you enjoyed the video. If you would like to see more of my content, go ahead and click that subscribe button and the bell to be notified whenever I upload any new content. If you feel like supporting the channel, you can go ahead and click that Patreon link to be taken to my Patreon, and any help is truly appreciated. Other than that, stick around for any other run-throughs or reviews or cool top 10s or whatever I feel like putting on. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.